going to deal with Ma'at. Ma'a literally means to see. So fundamentally what we're speaking about is insight. Right? We're talking about that which governs over Jupiter, along with Tehuti. Tehuti and Ma'at being brother and sister, male, female, opposite polarities of the same energy. And that energy is all about knowing, knowledge, high science, high knowledge, these things like this here. Ma'at is most fundamentally the principle of love. Ma'at is the principle that says you give seeking nothing in return, right? Which is true love. Right? Heteru's conjugal love, or love between man and woman, is a stepping stone or a teaching ground for the understanding of true love, which is the ability to even love your enemy, the ability to give to your enemy, love your enemy. And love is important at this stage, because love is about the understanding that all is one. When you're looking at things from a Ma'at perspective, you understand that really there's only one being in this world. Everything that comes created came from God. So God is within everything, right? Meaning that, at the essence of your soul is the same thing at the essence of my soul. Therefore, in actuality, absent of all that is on the outside of us, right, on our external, we are the same thing, which is God. So therefore, I should love you, treat you right, treat you as I would treat myself. Because if I hate you, what am I doing? I'm hating myself. Ma'at is about synthesis thinking. That's the mental mode of Ma'at, is synthesis thinking. And this basically says that, one is able to see how things that are externally different are in fact the same on an abstract level, right? Using abstractions to connect concepts that appear different, right? It's like, okay, now my Hebrew Israelites, my Black Power people, y'all gonna get mad at me for this one, but Ma'at is that principle that says, like you look at the four major racial groups in the world, right? Ma'at says these are all integral parts of the whole. Just as the various elemental modalities, flowing in an ecosystem, make up the foundation of life on the planet. The Hopis talked about the four tribes of men being synonymous with air, water, fire, and earth, right? You have, the Asians would be air, right? The earth people would be the Hispanics, the quote-unquote Native Americans, right? The water element being the African people, or the melanated races all around the planet, right? From Americas to Africas to Aborigine. And the fire people being the peoples of Europe, right? The peoples who came out of Europe, right? So, the Ma'at thought is the abstract connection is, to look within the person and understand how they're all kin. They're all, just like air, water, fire, and earth are the fundamental elements that make up, life on the planet. So these people are actually cousins. These people are actually family. That's outside of all the differences that they create for each other and that bring all the strife that we know as race relations in 2014. You know what I'm saying? So, now let's get it straight. Ma'at is not a piece where it's just all about a whole pushover. Like, understanding holistic thinking is like, to everything and every situation, Ma'at does not necessarily apply directly. That's why we have the other faculties. So, wisdom is about understanding when to apply what at what time. So, not always is it expedient to love your enemy. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's about, returning fire with fire. But, that's not the Ma'at stage. That's another stage. Right? So we talk about law and order. When man imitates nature, he intuits the laws and principles behind worldly phenomena, and through this achieves order, balance. Right? All is macrocosm and microcosm, as we said before, as above, so below. You look at the I Ching. The I Ching has different, in its various verses, it refers to the flow of the elements and relating human behavior, to these, the various aspects of life on earth to what we see in nature. It's my thing. Like we look at Hexagram 5, right? Hexagram 5 talks about waiting, right? It says, this hexagram shows how the clouds in the heavens giving rain to refresh all that grows and to provide mankind with the food and drink. The rain will come on its own. We cannot make it come. We have to wait for it, right? So, like, what's being said here is it's talking about waiting, and what it's doing is you see the abstract metaphor of, the clouds, right? You see clouds up in the head, and you know that there's rain following that, but you can't make it come. You might have crops, you know what I mean? It might be hot. You can't just make it come, though. It has to come in its own time, and you have to wait. So, I thought that was a beautiful example of how abstract thinking shows the way. Another understanding of synthesis thinking, you say, like, once again, in the case of illness, right? Whereas, like, say, a sebek would look at the symptom and say, let's treat the symptom. Ma'at is about understanding what is overarching, what is above the symptom, causes the symptom. Right, so in treating that, Western medicine will say, take these pills over here, to reduce your hypertension, right? Your heart is pumping blood to the organs, too quickly, so you got hypertension, right? So take these pills, and then make sure you come back and get those pills the next month, because you're gonna need to. You're not gonna solve it, because what we're doing is we're treating the symptom. Whereas, now when the holistic, medicine comes in, it says, well, what's causing the hypertension, right? Is it your diet? You eating too much salt, too much sodium, too much sugar, right? Are you getting your exercise, allowing your heart to be regulated by flowing, or pumping regularly through exercise, right? Do you smoke? Is it hereditary? Do you have stress? What is it that is making you go through that change? You know what I'm saying? So it's addressing the thing from a holistic perspective, it's basically looking at the overarching piece, right? Okay, so we're dealing with alright, so Ma'at deals with the feather, right? You see the feather, right? Why is Ma'at the feather? People still aren't able to understand exactly what that was about. It simply says, law is the feather because there's no weight behind the feather, right? There's nothing at the Ma'at level that's going to compel you to live by the law or to live by the truth of your being or of, anything, right? You don't have to be compelled. It's like, if God were to compel man to live righteously, how would man's growth be determined, right? You have atheists complain, like they say, well, if there was a God, then how would he allow the man to kill each other and subjugate each other or whatever like that? What they don't get is life is a school for spirits, right? Man is judged on his living of morality, right? How well did you treat your fellow man while you were here? That's the question that is asked while your heart is being weighed against the feather, right? Did you walk through with a light heart, right? This is why Amen is the hidden, right? and we'll get to that, but Amen is the hidden. If you could see God sitting right there next to you, before you socked that kid in the eye, right? Or before you stole money out the register or out somebody's pocketbook or pickpocketed somebody, right? Before you cheated somebody, if God was sitting right there before you were about to cheat on your mate, would you then do it? Of course you would. So there would be no challenge for you to live truth for truth's sake and not for the sake of not getting caught, or seeing if you can get away with it without getting caught, right? So God lets you choose while it plays the background, just taking notes on what you did, right? It's like Maat and Tehuti are on the right side of the brain. This is where intuition occurs. So, people who are overly left-sided are hindered in understanding due to the need for empirical proof, right? Everything needs to be proven to them because that intuition faculty is not online yet, right? And that's something that that was another reason why Ma'at is also refers to balance, right? And that's another metaphor for those scales, is balance of the hemispheres of the brain, right? You get too much left, then you're the pillar of severity. You're overly severe. You're stubborn, right? You're into separation, right? You're rigid, right? Your view is constricted. You're too hard, right? Too much on the right side, and you're overly optimistic. There's too much compassion, or you misapply compassion. You apply it in where it shouldn't, right? You're overly tolerant, right? People running over you because you're just too soft, right? You overgeneralize rather than get to the details. Changeable versus steady, right? So, the various cultures can be, or the various ethnic groups, if you analyze, you can look and see, right, how the various ethnic groups fall under these categories, right? The only people in history to be able to that we can actually point to and visibly see that how they were able to harmonize the hemispheres of the brain were the ancient Kemetans. The Kemetans were able to produce a society where economics and financial gain could flourish equally with spirituality, right? Where concerns of outer world, right, didn't trump, but were expressed in balance with, and sometimes trumped by, the concerns of the inner world, right? Because if we're eternal spirits coming to this earth to have a transitory earth experience, right, as a lesson, right, which is more important, the outer world or the inner world, right? In actuality, wouldn't it be that the outer world is like virtual reality, where the inner world is the real deal, right? And a clue of that is when you look at the tree, you can see that there are more deities that face right than left, right? So, Ma'at sees both sides of the issue. Ma'at is, the optimistic one, right? Ma'at is the diplomat, right? Brings the two sides together, sits them at a table and says, hey, talk it out, right? Ma'at is the priest. It's all about, morality, how you're living, development of your spirit, right? Developing the various aspects, right? Again, we're talking about holistic, right? We're not talking about, there's many examples of priests that don't have a holistic view. That wouldn't be Ma'at, that would be something else. But the intention would be Ma'at, because the intention would be, no matter how effective it is, the intention would be to help and to heal. You have judges presiding over the law. I would correct that to say, not so much judges in the current United States, which is a corporation. It's not even a country anymore. So you have, paid administrators in the seats of judges. These people aren't judging true law. So I wouldn't put that under Ma'at. They're under like Sebek Tim or Heru Tim or Set even, right? So, but that's another story. But yeah, rightfully, judges would be under Ma'at. The tree of life is under Ma'at. Various cosmograms, right? Which is a view of the whole, right? Something that allows you to be able to see all aspects of the thing, right? That's a cosmogram. These would fall under Ma'at, like, the Ennead, the Bagua, the Zodiac, the Jain, right? The ancient Buddhist systems, the ancient Mayan systems, right? They all are associated with various cosmological explanations of their situation, right? So when you get in a Ma'at reading, right, we're talking about, are you viewing the whole? Are you seeing everything? Are you seeing the overarching theme in the details that you are working with, right? How much are you giving to others, right? Are you sharing, right? Are you following the laws and the rules, right? Are your actions guided by your higher principles or your lower principles, right? Because Ma'at is morality, right? Exploring your questions of morality. This is when, when you get in this Ma'at reading, this is what you're doing, right? God incarnates through his creation to have experience. So God needs man in order to enter the world. So Ma'at is the foundation of love, law, and order. The source of love and purity can't enter a vessel that is full of hate, chaos, and disorder. Right? Ma'at says clean yourself up in order to become a vessel of God's consciousness in the world. Right? And that way you're helping God. Right? So God needs you. That's the law of Ma'at, that God needs you to come into the world. So the highest love is making yourself a vessel for God's presence to come into and work in life, right? Through your living, through correcting your living. Okay, so let's see, two more things I want to say about this Ma'at piece. One is that, we're talking about religion, right? Religion, the thing that teaches you morality, or that is supposed to, right? And that's actually gotten a bad rap, because of some of the religions that purport to teach morality, but in actuality do people a disservice by helping them to ignore their higher faculties. Religion telling you things like divination is, a bad thing, that to have direct communication with God is a bad thing, that to meditate is a bad thing. Meditation is the way that you get, direct access to God, where God actually comes and now speaks to you, different from prayer where you're just speaking to God. So there's no way that could possibly be a bad thing. But, when we just believe without actually applying our reasoning faculty, we miss that. We kind of just hear our way through life. That's again, we're at that sebex, that eighth sphere. Where we're not using our intelligence to really, get to the answers. So religion has gotten a bad name, and rightfully so, because it's the age of Aquarius, and these things have to come down where they're not correct. So the thing about that is, the various religions, though, exist for the various levels of spiritual growth and understanding. Right? There's certain things that some people can't understand just because they're not at that level. Right? Some of the things that we're talking about right now will never be comprehended by certain people who are just not at this level to get this stuff. Right? So, so for them is a religion like some of these other religions that we're speaking about. I don't want to name them names because I don't want people to go, crying saying I'm beating up on their religion. That's not my aim. I have done that in the past, and I'm trying to curb my bad habits. You feel me? So yeah, but are those religions bad now when they exist for that particular person's level of understanding? You know what I'm saying? It's like the third grader can't take the sixth grade or the 12th grade test just yet. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to offend nobody. I'm just, this is life, we live in it, right? The other thing is, like people say, all religion is bad. No, it can't be all religion is bad if there's some religions that actually teach you about your higher self. If a religion promotes spirituality, right? And makes you to understand spirituality instead of dogma, which, most of these bad or these incorrect religions do, right? They promote a dogma, right? Now, if you're getting an understanding of your various spiritual faculties, then there's no way you can tell me that that particular religion is bad, right? Or those that are similar are bad. If this religion, helps you to be able to connect with God on a direct level through meditation, and you now start to actually receive, intuitions and communications from, your ancestors and from the deities, then, there's no way that you could say that is bad. So, the reason I speak on it is because people parrot decent sounding concepts, and, we need to get out of that, people, they say it because somebody else said it who they respected, and it sounds real good. So, we have to get away from that. That's the bottom line. So, that is my my treatise on the Ma'at faculty, and I hope y'all got something from it. Again, this isn't everything, because I could speak about Ma'at for a day and still have more to speak about. So I definitely, like I said before, don't sleep on those books. Get that Metu Neter, the brother Ra Un Nefer Amen. He has a lot to teach you. So yeah, y'all be safe. Peace.